I've made it very clear on this show, and I have my entire life, even before I got into radio. I met Rush Limbaugh at a golf tournament when I was 17 years old. He could not have been more of a douchebag. I still remember that day. Rush Limbaugh has made some, over the course of his life, he got fired from ESPN for making racist comments about black quarterbacks. He said he talked about Michael J. Fox, that he was overexerting his Parkinson's and his movements. He said that the NBA and the NFL are like the Bloods and the Crips. They might as well call them gangs. The man, he called Sandra Fluke a whore. This is a man over and over again who has said horrible, racist, misogynistic things. He's a man of hatred. And as I've said from the beginning, even when I heard that he had cancer, I could care less, ladies and gentlemen. I could care less. I don't care if he's got 30 billion listeners. I don't care if he's the pioneer of radio. He is a horrible human being. I've been very consistent on my opinions. With that being said, did I wish him to have cancer? Do I wish him death? Absolutely not. Will I feel bad for his family and friends when he dies? Certainly. But I'm not going to shed one tear for him because I don't feel empathy for people that don't feel empathy for others. This man has spewed hatred, racism, and bigotry and misogynistic comments throughout his entire career. So with that being said, that's my opinion on Rush Limbaugh. I want to be very clear on that, but I'd never go on the air.
No, that's all on air, though. Off air, I've read a lot. I haven't dealt with him personally, neither of you, but I've read that what he does on air is more of an act.
Okay, well, I don't care.
And he's an entertainer.
I don't care. You can entertain and put on an act without being a racist and without saying misogynistic things.
But besides that fact, he's an absolute revolutionary in the radio industry.
Don't care. Like I just said, don't care.
He is a complete
To me, it's irrelevant.
icon.
To me, it's irrelevant. He's not an icon to me.
And it will be a major hole for all the stations, on whether it's iHeart or,
I don't care.
or KXNT that carry him. And I'm curious how they're going to fill that void. Because,
okay, but that's a separate story.
Because Rush Limbaugh, I mean, I don't see him being on the airwaves past December 31st, 2020.
So that's a different...
I think his career is over. I think he's holding out till this election, and he had Trump on the show for 3 hours last week, and he had 50 million listeners on that one show.
That's not true. He doesn't have anywhere close to that many listeners. That's completely not true.
On that one show,
that's not true.
He had 50 million listeners. You can not believe it. You could want it not to be true. Doesn't make it not true, Brian.
Okay, well, I'll make you a wager right now. He did not have 50 million listeners.
50 million people.
Yeah, and I'll make you a wager right now. That's not true.
To the Rush Limbaugh, Donald Trump feature all 3 hours.
All right,
last week.
So hold on, back up.
Okay.
Number one, that's not true, and I can
It is
prove.
true.
Okay, hold on. If I can please talk for 3 seconds. Number one, that's not true. Number two, I will give you evidence to prove that what you're saying is not true, but that's irrelevant. How radio stations are going to recover from Rush Limbaugh when he dies, I don't care. I don't care.
Oh, I do.
Okay, if I can please finish. I don't care how many listeners he has. I don't care if people want to call him an icon. I suppose some people would call David Duke an icon, too. I don't care.
That's a ridiculous comparison.
No, it's not, because Rush Limbaugh... Excuse me. Excuse me.
David Duke and Rush
Excuse
Limbaugh?
me. Just because
insanity,
if I can
Brian.
please finish my statement. I don't care what some people feel about Rush Limbaugh with his on-air abilities. The bottom line is the man is full of hatred. He's a racist. He's a misogynistic pig, and I cannot. And I'm at the bottom.
It just sounds like you're jealous of Rush Limbaugh right now. If I'm a listener, I think you're jealous of Rush.
First of all, this has nothing to do with jealousy and has everything to do with the things he said on the air. It's nothing to do with jealousy. There's a lot of radio hosts out there that are extremely popular.
By the way, his producer, his longtime producer, who actually came up with that Barack the Magic Negro bit, is named Bo Snerdley, and he is black.
Who cares? Who cares? Everything you're saying is completely irrelevant. Yeah, that's the icon who gets the Medal of Freedom Award. Yeah, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. What a genius. What a wonderful man. What a racist pig. Anyway, the reason why, and we're getting off kilter, the reason why I'm giving my opinions on Rush Limbaugh, and I would never wish him death or sickness. I don't feel sorry for him at all. When he dies, I'm not going to feel sorry for him one bit. Because as I said before, and I'll say it again, I don't have empathy for those who don't have empathy for others. To insinuate that Michael J. Fox was exaggerating his Parkinson's and go after black football players and say the racist, horrific things he said over the course of his career. He's a disgusting human being and a man of hatred. But with that being said, the reason why we're talking about, I'm trying to get to the story.
But saying that he has no empathy for others, I mean,
I'm trying to get.
You're taking anecdotal evidence. You're assuming that he has no empathy for anybody.
It's not anecdotal.
It is anecdotal.
Okay, so
you're bringing up one example.
It's not anecdotal evidence. If I can please get to the story.
But saying that he has no empathy
please
for
get to
anybody,
the
I think is a stretch.
Okay,
I don't think you can say
not
that,
a stretch
Brian.
at all. Not a stretch at all. I'm going by the things he said over the course of his career. You can do your own homework and research. I already did mine. I could list you hundreds of things he said over the course of his career that would prove he has no empathy for others. Do the research yourself. But I want to move on now, and the reason why we're talking about Rush Limbaugh. He went on the air this week, and he told his audience that his days are numbered. I want you to have a listen to this.
From the moment you get the diagnosis, there's a part of you every day, okay, that's it, life's over. You just don't win. But when you get that diagnosis, I mean, that's... So, during the period of time after the diagnosis, you do what you can to prolong life. You do what you can to prolong a happy life. You measure a happy life against whatever medication it takes. And at some point, do you decide, this medication may be working, but I hate the way I feel every day. This is just, I'm not there yet. But it is part and parcel of this. It's tough to realize that the days where I do not think I'm under a death sentence are over.
So I would never go on the air and say he's exaggerating his cancer. That's what he did about Michael J. Fox. He went on the air and he did that. He said he was exaggerating his Parkinson's. Now, I don't really have a problem with Rush talking, because to me, that's being personal with your listeners. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with any host talking about their health conditions or how they're doing or stuff that's going on in their personal life. In fact, I recommend it. I think it's a good thing. Even though I can't stand Rush Limbaugh, I think he's a despicable human being. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's the song that Rush Limbaugh decided to play on his show, Barack the Magic Negro. Guess a lot of people found that funny, all of his listeners. So anyway, going back to what I was just saying, I don't think there's anything wrong with being personable with your listeners. I don't think Rush did anything wrong there in that instance. He's talking about what he's going through in his life and his cancer, and I would imagine if I was a fan of his, which I'm not, but if I was, I would probably appreciate that. Like, I grew up listening to Howard Stern, right? I love Howard Stern. And Howard talked a lot about his personal life. In fact, every day he talks about his personal life. He still does it today. Talked about his sex life, talked about his small genitalia, talked about health issues, talked about how he has OCD. I liked hearing that. I wanted to get in the mind of Howard Stern. I wanted to know what he's doing in his life. Now, I don't think Rush Limbaugh did that. He's decided to do it now. I remember when Rush had a drug problem and he was taking all those painkillers and he got caught doing it. He didn't talk about it on his show because it embarrassed him. So now he's deciding to, he wants people to feel pity for him because he has cancer.
That's exactly right.
And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, doesn't have a lot of consistency, doesn't talk about his personal life on the air very often, but he has decided to recently. Now, I don't have a problem with that.